Every culture in the world tells stories. It seems that storytelling is humanity's most basic way of communicating. It's quite beautiful. There's stories all over the world, and many of them intersect and interact. And I love learning about them. And aren't we all just stories in the end? Welcome back to Sweet Infinity. My name is Kieran, and today I'll be reading from two decks, the Tea Leaf Fortune Cards deck by Ray Hepburn and the Tarot of the Divine deck by Yoshi Yoshitani. The Tea Leaf Fortune deck is a beautiful round deck with 200 cards, and it's based on tea leaf readings by Ray Hepburn, who is a tea leaf reader from Britain. And the Tarot of the Divine is a wonderful deck that uses imagery and stories from around the world to locate symbolism and archetypes of the traditional tarot deck. So I find this to be a fascinating deck because I love fairy tales and legends and mythologies and all that folklore type stuff. So if you don't mind, please do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. And please do a thumbs up so that others can also find this video when they need to see it. Okay. I like to take a moment to just breathe and center myself before I do a reading. Listen to my inner voice. And then pick cards as they come up. Temperance and Two of Cups. Generally, Two of Cups is about partnership, close alliances, maybe a marriage, but something very, very close, like best friends, lifelong partners, things like that. And Temperance is about learning to balance your inner and outer selves, learning to do things in moderation, and being patient. So those are the first two cards that came up. I feel like this is calling forth a need for you to learn to balance your inner two sides. Maybe there are two sides to your personality that have been in conflict or that you are not sure how to reconcile them. Maybe they're two opposite things that you want. It could be some kind of habit or even addiction that you have dealt with. And on some level, you're trying to figure out how to come to terms between those two things. Both things make sense. Let's see what this is really about. In what aspect of life is this coming up? Page of Swords. High Priestess. The Page of Swords is a student. They like to think. High Priestess and the Sun. So what I'm seeing here is that this has something to do with education. Maybe a teacher or being a teacher or having had a teacher of some kind. Judgment. And you feel that on some level, there's something you need to pass, some kind of lesson. Maybe you're a student or you want to be a student or having something to do with your degree or your educational studies or your academic career. There's something going on that is confusing for you, and you are trying to bring two sides of yourself together. It could be the part of you that wants to maybe pursue a different career path. That's very likely, because what I'm seeing here is that there are different parts of you that are clashing. Maybe somebody expects you to be a doctor or an engineer or something like that, but you have some other intentions in life. Maybe you want to practice law or in some other way, some kind of research or a teaching profession, something to do where you're bringing light, because we've got the sun, we've got judgment, and a lot of sunshine is coming in. And there's the moon here, or the High Priestess who is, ruled by the moon, but there is this sense that you're keeping it hidden. You're not sharing some parts of you because you're maybe afraid of judgment, or you're afraid of being pushed off course from what you have been expected to do or be. So let's pick some tea leaves and see what happens. Gavel, involvement with the law. So again, I'm seeing law, okay? I'm seeing in some way that the legal profession is calling you. Okay, great passion. On some level, you have a great passion for it. Bell announcement. Now, I think it's time for you to consider that maybe these two parts of you, whatever they are, can be integrated, can come together. Is it that maybe the legal profession is calling you along with some other profession or some other career path that you are expected to take? Bridge is successfully overcoming a problem, and it's literally about building a bridge between two sides. So again, we deal with this duality and coming to terms with it and bridging the two sides of you together. So this is more of an internal thing I'm seeing, and this has something to do with your career. Are you at a place where you are at a fork in the road and you're not sure which way to go? Whichever method takes you towards something to do with the legal profession or something to do with teaching, I'm getting that that's the correct path for you, but you can also integrate other aspects of yourself and bridge those two sides together. Nine of Swords. Let's read from the booklet for some of these cards. The Nine of Swords, Oedipus. The Nine of Swords represents decision-making controlled by anxiety. The oracle at Delphi warns the king that his son, Oedipus, will one day kill him had he not let his fears control him and raised his son with love instead of hate. The king's eventual death could have been avoided. So that's an interesting thing, right? The self-fulfilling prophecy. And the idea of the Nine of Swords is that we sometimes get so caught up in our own fears that we end up bringing them to life. So just be wary of that, okay? Let's look into the Two of Cups, which is the original card, and I want to see what the booklet has to say about that. Enkidu and Gilgamesh, Sumerian mythology. The Two of Cups is an ideal relationship that still faces difficulties. Gilgamesh was a tyrant until Enkidu was created for him to be his equal in every way. Though their initial meeting was rocky, they came to love each other very much as opposites who complete each other. So the idea being that there's like an enemies to friends or enemies to lovers kind of trope happening here, right? And that's something that happens within us too. Parts of us that we don't like, sometimes we project them onto others, or we try to hide from them or suppress them in ourselves. And real healing happens when we get to that point in the arc in our story that we can reconcile those things and we can become friends or even lovers with those parts of ourselves, or we love those parts of ourselves. We can build those bridges between us. Let's look for the Page of Swords and what it says for the Page of Swords in here. Princess Parizade, an Arabic folktale from Anatolia. The Page of Swords represents youthful intelligence. Princess Parizade uses her wit to succeed where others have failed. Her optimism intact through it all, she is a harbinger of new beginnings and new ideas for herself and those around her. So again, I'm seeing that this is about you coming to terms with a new version of you, something that may be unfamiliar to you and those who are around you, especially any kind of mother figures or older sisters or somebody who may not be familiar with this interest that you have in the law. Okay, maybe you have never told anyone that you want to go into the legal business or the legal field. Two of Swords. So this is about deciding. This is about having difficult choices. And maybe you think you have difficult choices, but sometimes it's also a matter of it's the indecision that's difficult. It's the pre-decision making process that's difficult. And once you have decided, things can actually get clear, okay? Table, hard work ahead, news of a birth or new business opportunity. So whatever you decide to do, there's going to be some hard work ahead. Nothing gets done without work, right? So that is important that we remember that. But I think the time is coming that you will hear a bell that will allow you to understand that there is something you need to announce to yourself. You need to accept yourself. And I feel like this is the sign that you will hear some kind of bell, something that is not ordinary and not an ordinary sound, a bell sound. And when that happens, you should know that that is your sign that you need to pursue the thing that is being called to you, the thing that you are dreaming about as a career. 10 of Cups, 9 of Cups. And we have amazing abundance that's coming your way, legacy. In fact, that is your legacy, is to do the very thing that you're being called to do, the thing that delights you, the thing that makes you just fire up, that you kind of forget who you are while you're doing it. You know, whatever it is, some obviously productive activity, but whatever it is, it could be being a personal trainer. It could be being a teacher. It could be being a mentor. It could be being a lawyer. It could be being a lot of different things, but it has something to do where you will be involved with lawyers. If you're not a lawyer yourself, there will be some legal things that you will need to deal with. Okay. By that, I mean like you will have to sign contracts, things like that. Or it could be that you actually pursue law as a field. Whatever it is, you have to embrace that part of you, because it's not something that you can just ignore. Okay. So how do you come to terms with that? How do you learn to embrace that part of you? King of Cups. So this is whoever's stifling you, right? And who's stifling you at this point? Let's see. Butterfly. Change for the better. Somebody who is expecting you to be just a butterfly forever, or somebody who expects you to be fickle or untrustworthy. Somebody who thinks of you as a child, okay? But they need to understand that you are an adult. The King of Cups is an adult, you know, and this is like a mature way of dealing with your feelings. And this is something that you haven't really had a chance to display. You will be playing a different role. So again, you know, the butterfly, the part of you that was the child that this person sees you as, it could be a parent or someone like that, they need to understand that you are playing a different role, that you have other parts of you, and that you are approaching a part of your life where you're going to have to be emotionally more mature and more independent, which means taking care of your own emotions, validating yourself, coming to terms with how to manage your emotions. Of course, you will have help along the way. 3 of Cups. So that's friendship. You will have community, you will have friendship, you will have good people around you. And yet that still requires emotional maturity, right? Which is the King of Cups, emotional maturity. So if you are able to harness these aspects of yourself where you let go of whatever addictions or habits that are not good for you, that you have been holding on to, and focus on the good in life and the good parts of you, the things that you have been blessed with, you know, and go on that adventure and find a way to pursue the thing that you're passionate about. Okay. Find a way to get in touch with a higher way of dealing with emotions. By that, I mean tantrums, you know, or even on the other side, emotionally cutting yourself off or being in denial or being avoidant. Those are things that you should work through and try to find a way to get through, because you will reach higher levels of your own life once you're able to process those emotions, understand that trauma that you went through, and understand that everybody has some trauma, and learning to integrate that into your personality and becoming a deeper, more multifaceted person, right? A diamond has many sides because it's cut on many sides. And so on some level, you have to think that way, okay? Bird flying, news is on the way, and do not back down from opposition, show strength and fortitude, the bull. So don't hide from the parts of you that are scary. Don't hide from the parts of you that are afraid, that are scared, okay, that are feeling lonely. Because when we do that, that's when we leave ourselves out in the cold, and that's not good. 4 of Wands. You have to kind of integrate the different parts of you. 4 of Wands is about integration, marriage, blending of things. Okay. 4 of Cups. So we have 2 different 4s. Instead of being bored and kind of being in an avoidant state, merge yourself with yourself. Find ways to make friends with even the parts of you that you have in the past avoided, ignored, or just been annoyed at. It's okay for you to have been annoyed at those things. You are part of the human family, the human journey, the human condition. And we are all on these paths. And we all think that we're alone, but we're not alone. And there's a lot of conflict in the world. There's a lot of drama, especially these days. And the world is going through a period that is difficult. Okay. We're going through a little bit of a domestic kerfuffle. If you were an alien from another planet, you'd be looking at Earth right now and saying, whoa, let's give them a few minutes. You know what I mean? But at the same time, the way to resolve those issues is going to be for each of us to come to terms with ourselves and to be integrated. Knight of Cups is about being unafraid to deal with emotions, being somebody who is thrilled to explore new territories of feelings and passions and things like that. You will receive a gift. So another thing is look for boxes. I said listen for bells, so you got to listen for the bells and you got to look for boxes. Boxes that speak to you, boxes that represent something to you. I want you to look for boxes, and I want you to put in a box written sheets of paper that have your dreams. I want you to make a dream box and put your dreams in a box. And then understand that that box is processing those things, and that goes into the universe's belly, and it gets processed and digested and comes, becomes part of the universe's ecosystem, your dreams, your hopes, and it can happen for you, whatever it is. Just trust yourself and believe in yourself and love yourself. It's very important to integrate different parts of ourselves, okay? Don't leave any part of you out in the cold. Talk to your inner child. Talk to other versions of you. Talk to parts of you that have felt alone. You're on the road to success, mountain road, throne, position of authority, and a funnel, period of frustration, lessons to be learned, and casket, someone going out of your life or the end of a situation. So these things really are about movement. If you notice, like mountain road, funnel, casket, these are about movement, and things move and change all the time in the universe. That's what's happening for you right now, and you need to accept that, and you need to find a way to center yourself in yourself. Okay? So if you are able to do that, listen for the bell, look for the box, put something about your dreams and what you envision into a beautiful box that you find or that you create, and just keep adding to it. And you're allowed to once in a while look at it, read it out to yourself, open the box, and then put it back in the box. And just know that the universe is processing that information for you. I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you find what you're looking for. I hope that you're able to become friends with all parts of you. And I hope that you'll come back and watch some of my other videos. If you would like to support me, you can check me out on Patreon, Ko-fi, Buy Me a Coffee, all the fun stuff. It's linked in the description below. Thanks for stopping by. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a sweet infinity.